Hello everyone. So welcome to my videos. Myself Ashwin Nayak. From today, let me start the ninth standard social science. In the history part, chapter 4, Vijayanagara Empire and Bahumani Kingdom. In this chapter, we have to studying in our previous class. Okay, who was the founder of this dynasty? And then how many dynasties to rule with the Vijayanagara Empire? And then who are the famous king of this Vijayanagara Empire? And then military achievements of this empire. So these are all information we have to study it in our previous class. Okay, once again we have to remember that. So Hakka Bukka, he was established the empire of Vijayanagara, and then he started the river banks of this Tungabhadra river in the year the 1336 CE. And then the Hampi became the capital city of this Vijayanagara empire. And then, so in this empire, he started to ruling on, taken the emblem of this Varaha. Okay, this is the emblem of this Vijayanagara empire. And then in this Vijayanagara empire, it is to rule on this the four dynasties. At that first one, Sangama dynasty, Salwa dynasty, Tuluva dynasty, and then Aravidu dynasty. In these four dynasties to rule the Vijayanagara empire. The famous king of Sangama dynasty, they were Harihara first, Bukkaraya, Harihara second, Prabuddha Devaraya, and then Harihara. So they laid their foundations of this Vijayanagara empire and then developed the capital, the admist and then new hillocks. So this is the Vijayanagara empire and then the popular king of this, the Sangama dynasty. Okay, look at that chart. The Harihara first, Bukkaraya, Harihara second, Prabuddha Devaraya. So these are all the famous of this Sangama dynasties. Okay, and then in this Vijayanagara empire, one of the famous king is there. So that is the Krishna Devaraya. So Krishna Devaraya, he was the popular king of this Vijayanagara empire. So Krishna Devaraya, he was the most famous king among the rules of this Vijayanagara empire. And then he has to compare to the world famous ruler like that Ashoka and then Samudragupta and then Harshavardhana. He ruled over the 20 years in this Vijayanagara empire. And then during this period, the Vijayanagara empire reached to the pinnacle of this, the glory to the in this kingdom. And then he has to earn the so many title of this in this period. So at that one is Yavana Rajya Pratishthapanacharya. So this is also one of the title of this Vijayanagara Krishna Devaraya. And then the Krishna Devaraya, he is not only a father, the warrior, but also a but also an able to administrator. In his Telugu works, look at that, the Amukta Maulyada. So this is also one of the very popular work of this Krishna Devaraya. And then Krishna Devaraya was the poet himself. and then wrote the play Jambavati Kalyana in Sanskrit. And then the Krishnadevaraya to construct the Krishna temple at Hampi, the along with the many of this temple, he erected Maharanga Mantapa in Virupaksha temple. So in this Hampi place, look at that image, the Virupaksha temple at the Maharanga Mantapa, it is constructed to the Krishna Devaraya. So in this during this period, the whole the people of this religion to enjoy their religious freedom. Okay, this is the information about the Krishna Devaraya, and then we have to study in our previous class. Okay, and then next today let me start the topic the fall of Vijayanagara Empire. Okay, what was the reason for this? The fall of Vijayanagara Empire. Okay, let me see that the one by one reason for this Vijayanagara Empire was fall down on this kingdom. The Krishnadevaraya and then Achyutaraya and Sadashivaraya came to throw the Vijayan Krishnadevaraya son-in-law and then Ramaraya of this Aravidu dynasty, the handled this administration in an the able of this manner. So this is the reason for this one of that in this kingdom he has to the fall. So although the Ramaraya had improved that the prestigious of this kingdom by the winding many of this during this the 23-year region, the many fears and this the passage up against the Vijayanagara. So and then that frequently attacked by these Deccan Shahi Sultans, the Ramaraya had the occupied the Vijayanagara, Vijayapura and then Golconda forts. So contrasting to that, the frequently attack by the Delhi Sultan, the Shahi Sultans, the Ramaraya and then occupied the Vijayapura and then Golconda forts. So this is the main reason, and then this had to the provided the Sultans was wage war against the Ramaraya. And then the Deccan Sultan, the who were envious of this progress and this prosperity of this Vijayanagara Empire to forget their political difference and united in the name of the religion. So this is also one of the reason for this the fall of Vijayanagara Empire. And then in the year the 1565, the united army of this four kingdom mounted an attack of this Vijayanagara Empire. Okay, look at that chart. So Ramaraya's army was defeated in this battle. He had to the died. The victory army of this Deccan Sultan plundered the glorious kingdom of the Vijayanagara Empire. As a result, that capital city, the Hampi, became the Triad. The chieftains of this Mysuru and then Keladi and then Chitradurga in this Karnataka became the independent. And then the cultural contributions of this Vijayanagara. So, what were the cultural contributions of this Vijayanagara Empire? Okay, let's see that one by one. So, at that first part, the administration. So, the administrations of this Vijayanagara was carried on traditional manner. And then the king selected their eldest sons as the heirs. The central administration was strong and some power by decentralized and the council of this minister to strong ministry, the provincial chieftains of the king would give to the land to the leader of chieftain to return the military service. There were the different bodies like the council of this leader, the village administration, and etc. Timurasa was the great prime minister. The kingdom had the various administrative level like the state, nadu, and then village. That kingdom it has to administrate it with the three level. At that first one is state, and then nadu, and then the village. The king enjoyed the absolute power in the judicial matter, and a province officer used to the dispense justice in a province. The punishments used to be served. That village, the last level of this administrative, and then Grama Sabha used to carry on this administration there. The Gauda, Karnam, and Talwar used to assist it in the village administration. And in Nadagodas and the cities, Pattana Swami, although Pattana Shetty used to look after this administration. So Vijayanagara had a mighty army. It consisted of the hierarchies of this permanent the troops. The troops set by the wizard states and the troops of royal guards, the infantry, cavalry, elephant, and then cannons were the main divisions of this the army. So there were a mammoth elephants. The horses brought this Arabia were a major the attraction at the Vijayanagara. There were the naval squad in this army. The people from all the caste could occupy their high position in this army. So Okaliga and then Bedas became the chief trainees of this the army system. And then the forts and moats to play the important roles during this the war field. So this is the administrations of the Vijayanagara Empire. And the next one, the social system. So how did Vijayanagara people see has to using and then leaving there that the social system? So at the society has to be based and Varna based social system. Varnas it is to be based of this the adopting that social system. And then the occupation based to the caste system. The many skill he has to know that Vijayanagara Empire peoples, the artisan, the blacksmith, goldsmith, and bell metalsmith, carpentry, weavers, and then the cobblers in this society. We have to see that people he has to do that occupations, and then the practices of this the child marriage, sati, and devadasi system were the prevalent. Monogamy was the one of the common practice. The kings in the rich people had many the wives, and then the woman that enjoyed the dignified status in these societies. They were the female, the rituals were a female palace, the guards. So in this society, as a child marriage, we have to see that Sati and Devadasi system was also the prevalent, and then the king and the rich people has to the many wives. At that Vijayanagara society, the woman has to enjoy their dignity in this the society. So these are all work. It is to the people he has to follow up on there. And then the Holi and Deepavali and then Dasara festival were the celebrated of this Vijayanagara people. The Dasara festival it will be used to the celebrate with the pomps and then glory at that Hampi under the royal patronage of the Vijayanagara Empire. The music and dance to enjoy the great popularity for to known on the Vijayanagara Empire. So this is the social system of the Vijayanagara Empire. And then next we have to see there the economic condition. So how did people he has to lives to do for this economic system? So what was the system in this people he has to using their in their economic field? So at that first one, so Vijayanagara it was the economically the prosperous. The land tax were the main source of this revenue for this kingdom, and then farmers he has to use it their 4% 4 by 1 of their income to the government in the forms of this the taxes, the professional tax. So the various tax the kings was to that collected in the revenue to the kingdom. So at the professional tax, revenue tax, market tax, road tax, and then import and export tax, and then commercial tax, and then tribute from the vessels were the others form of this revenue tax that king has to be the collected. And then agricultural is the backbone of this economy. So agricultural it is to be main focus to the backbone of this people. And then the people he has to grow the different crops of the years. And then jowra, ragi, paddy, wheat, lentils, pulse like green grams and then black gram, and then tuor and sesame seeds and then groundnuts, coconut and then sugarcane and then coconuts. So these are coconut and then cotton. So these are all were the main crops of the peoples he has to grow for in agricultural field. So Vijayanagara kings to constructed the well tank and canals of this encouragement of this irrigation. So there were the five kinds of this practiced the whole thing that Geni, Guttigi, Siddhaya, Vara, and then Gadi. So in these five kinds of this practice, the land holding to the agricultural field. The Vijayanagara Empire had to achieve the great progress in the field of industries and then commerce. And in people, it has to the special like that the pepper, colways and cardamom, the salt pretty, the iron ore, diamond, groundlated sugar, musk and sandalwood, perfume, so etc. They were exported by them to that in this Vijayanagara kingdom. So there were the import textiles to the industries is there, the coin industries is there. And then okay, let me see that in these coins to different the denomination like that. Okay, look at that the gold, Gadhyana pagoda, the silver coins and then copper coins were be that people has to use there. So this is the economic system, and then so in Bankapura, Batkala, Goa, Shivana Samudra, Rayachuru, Kanchi, and then Rameshwara, Honnavara, Mangaluru. So there were the important ports of this Vijayanagara, and then the foreign trade also from to the Arab, China, Java, and Sumatra, Persia, the East Africa, and then Portugal had to be trade relation with the Vijayanagara Empire. So in this ports, he has to Vijayanagara Empire to import their some other things. So that are the rice, cloth, iron, sugar, and then spices item were to be exported, and then horse, elephant, the pearls, copper, mercury, the China silk, and then velvet cloths there were to be the important. So these are all were to the economic conditions of this the Vijayanagara Empire. And then in my next class, net to study there the religious system, literature, and then art and architecture, and then music and dance. So this concept we have to study it in my next class. Okay, thank you for watching these videos. Stay home, stay safe.